Alright guys, buckle up. This is going to be a long one. Let's talk about the life and death of Aaron Swartz, the information activist who took on the federal government. So Swartz was a genius, reading full sentences by 3, developing IP by 10. At age 12, he develops a website called the Info Network, basically Wikipedia before Wikipedia. Even at a young age, he expressed a lot of interest in copyright laws and freedom of information. Goes to Stanford, drops out, joins up with a company called Infogami, merges with a little company called Reddit. Reddit is sold to Condé Nast. Aaron Swartz makes his first million at 19, 20. Moves out to Silicon Valley, joins the whole startup life there, hates it. It's frivolous, it's insubstantial, it's not real work. Because Aaron Swartz was a tech genius, but his goals were not tech goals. His goals were social, political, and human rights goals. Before dropping out of Stanford, he spent a summer interning in Congress to learn the ropes, as one does. Goes and gets himself fired from Condé Nast for just not showing up to work. Joins up with information activists taking on a little program called Pacer, a credit card firewall put between taxpayers and public records that should be free. An illegal program widely used by state and local governments all over the country. He writes code that allows him to hijack the Pacer program and download millions of pages of these documents, which he then disseminates to the public for free on the internet. The FBI opens an investigation. They surveil him. They surveil his parents' house back in Illinois. They accost him on the street wanting to chat. Because Aaron Swartz isn't just downloading these documents, he's running analysis on them and uncovering years and years of malfeasance from government offices and bodies all over the country. Dozens of state and local governments drop the Pacer program, and the FBI closes its investigation without filing any charges. This is Swartz's first victory against the federal government. He's not even 21. 2011, he takes on JSTOR, a massively expensive and inaccessible academic database with case studies, scholarly articles, anything you could want from Shakespeare to diagnosing pancreatic cancer. Millions and millions and millions of pages of knowledge locked away from the public because of copyright laws. Using the same code that he used to take on Pacer, Swartz hacks the MIT mainframe and starts downloading millions of documents from JSTOR. For 2 days, the IT department at MIT cannot figure out which end is up. They eventually just shut JSTOR down because they can't figure it out. Aaron lies low for a couple days, waits for JSTOR to be restored, then goes to the MIT campus himself, finds an unlocked supply closet, plugs his computer into the mainframe, restores the downloads. Instead of confiscating the computer and stopping the downloads, they install a hidden camera, catch his face when he comes back to retrieve the laptop. A warrant goes out for his arrest. He turns himself into the Boston PD. He's charged with state breaking and entering charges. But as he's awaiting trial on these state charges, his activism becomes even bigger and louder. He forms organizations like demandprogress.org. He petitions the government for information on Chelsea Manning, which they were illegally withholding from the public. He becomes a research fellow at Harvard, and he is all over the network news saying a lot of things.
We're spying on so many people we can't possibly even count them. Technology has been developed not for small countries overseas, but right here for use in the United States. National security is an excuse to shut down the internet. That's exactly what we heard in Egypt, in Syria, and all these other countries.
2012, he takes on an impending federal bill called SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act, a bipartisan bill with Patriot Act legs. This would expand the power of law enforcement to shut down websites suspected of copyright infringement or online piracy. It would also allow internet service providers to shut down websites if they suspected them of copyright infringement or online piracy. It would expand prison sentences for people convicted of these crimes.
Biggest internet companies, to put it frankly, would benefit from a world in which their little competitors could get censored.
Again, he writes code that allows people to get even closer and more aggressive access to their elected representatives, reverse robocalling, barraging their senators with emails, pressuring them to speak out against the bill or withdraw support from the bill. Jimmy Wales, the creator of Wikipedia, goes on CNN and tells everybody that the bill is an infringement of free speech. Websites like GoDaddy pull their support. Wikipedia and Reddit go dark. The White House issues a statement against the bill. We'll come back to that one. Quickly, congressional support is trickling away and the bill is dead. Aaron Swartz has scored 2 major victories now against the federal government.
The year isn't even over yet. I mean, if there's a time to be positive, it's now.
4 months after his SOPA victory, September 2012, in steps Carmen Ortiz, Attorney General for the United States. She files a superseding 9 additional felonies, including wire fraud and 11 violations of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Aaron is ambushed on the street by federal and Secret Service agents. He is beaten, strip-searched, thrown into solitary confinement in a federal facility for 2 days. He's offered a deal. 6 months in a federal prison if he pleads guilty to 13 felonies. To a young man with political aspirations, this is the end of his dreams. Felons can't work in the federal government. To a young man trying to challenge the federal government, this would be an admission of defeat. He and his lawyers rejected the deal. But even before the trial began, the office of Carmen Ortiz was criticized for prosecutorial overreach, for being overzealous, even Nixonian, which is honestly the perfect word. Think about it. Barack Obama is voicing support for Aaron Swartz in May and charging him in September. Oh, by the way, Swartz now faces 35 years in a federal prison, $1 million in fines, asset forfeiture, and supervised release. 2 years after the original state charges were filed. It doesn't get better from here, guys, so feel free to keep scrolling and look this up on your own. January 11th, 2013, Aaron Swartz's girlfriend goes to his house in Brooklyn.
It was just like, I just think it was too much.
I got a phone call late at night. I could tell something was wrong, and then I called and I realized what had happened.
A co-founder of the social news and entertainment website Reddit has been found dead.
The Office of the Attorney General issued a statement, dropping all charges and claiming that they had never had any intention of pursuing the maximum penalties against him. Facing further criticism of prosecutorial conduct and even congressional hearings, Eric Holder and Barack Obama continued to stand behind the actions of Carmen Ortiz, saying that her conduct was entirely appropriate.
The message that the Obama administration wanted to send to that particular community was, in my estimation, we know you have the ability to make trouble for the establishment. And so we are going to try to make an example out of Aaron Swartz to scare as many of you as possible into not making that trouble.
If you'd like to learn more, please check out The Internet's Own Boy on YouTube. It is free to the public, as Aaron would have wanted it. Please don't take information for granted. Don't take your own learning for granted. People have suffered and died so that you can have it.
How do you feel the fight is going?
It's up to you.
Aaron Swartz was 26.
Growing up, I slowly had this process of realizing that all the things around me that people had told me were just the natural way things were, the way things always would be. They weren't natural at all. They were things that could be changed, and they were things that, more importantly, were wrong and should change.